All right, so Richard, rents are low and plentiful. Home builders, though, at the same time have some incentives, pardon me, for buyers. In your opinion, right now, is it a good time to try and purchase that first home?
It really depends on the buyer. I mean, the choice to buy a home involves a lot of various decisions that we certainly can't anticipate, but I think it's very important for buyers to do as much research as they can, and so part of that I think is some of the stuff that we offer. We do offer some analysis on the housing market, where prices are going, what to expect in terms of rents and vacancies, or in terms of what's being built, and so I think some of the resources that we have on our website are certainly very helpful for buyers to make that informed decision.
And where are things trending then, as far as Calgary home prices are concerned right now?
Yeah, so we're expecting prices to remain pretty flat throughout 2016. In terms of the resale market, the market is still largely in favor of the buyer, so we are seeing more supply in the market, giving buyers more choice, as well as more negotiation to change prices.
Have we seen less people get involved in a home earlier on in their lives due to a reduced amortization period of 25 years? Has that affected things, or not so much the way the government had planned?
I think it depends on the buyer again. I think in terms of reducing the amortization, I think what it does is it perhaps delayed the purchasing decision until a bit later, and also
putting them as a renter for a longer period of time.
Yeah, and gives buyers a bit more time to save up before making their first purchase.
Now, I own a condo, okay, and year after year, my darn condo fees are always going one way. They're always going up, right? And I've also been hit with a special assessment. Personally, I would not recommend buying a condo, okay? Would you? Your opinion. Is condo ownership smart? The hesitation says it all. No way, Jose.
No, not necessarily. Okay, I think it's important to have condos. I mean, I think condos offer a different type of lifestyle. I mean, it's
affordable.
It's affordable. It's maintenance free. I mean, there's things that some people don't want to do. Condos are also located in some areas that are close to amenities, which may appeal to many buyers as well. So I think it really depends on what you're looking for. I think it is important for a market to have variety in terms of housing, and we do see that in Calgary.
Is condo ownership, or trying to rent a condo, I mean, is that a good solution, or is the single detached, maybe the duplex, is that a better, I guess, dwelling to be renting, as far as, neighbors and parking and the rest of it?
Well, we're a membership-based organization, and we have many members, landlord members, who own single-family detached homes, and we have a lot of members too who rent out the condos. They may have purchased it as an investment. So typically condos come with some amenities that you don't find in some of the other rental accommodation as well, particularly in some of the older purpose-built rentals. And I think, as Richard has said, and it's a great point, condo living, for example, it's a lifestyle choice, and that's what people want. There's a lot of people who rent and want to rent. It's their choice, and it's a lifestyle choice as well. And then there's those that move on, because it's interesting from our point of view. We do a turnover survey every year where we ask our members, and they've got over 50,000 units, and we ask our members, tell us how many units you have, tell us how many turned over, and tell us what the top 3 reasons were. We've done it now for 11 years. We're heading into doing another one this spring, and the interesting thing is the number one reason, 10 out of the last 11 years, even when we went through the last boom and bust cycle, the number one reason is to buy a home, of course, or a condo. Of course. That's why
ownership.
Home ownership. That's what they moved out into.
What's number 2?
Number 2 typically varies between job relocation, where people have transferred, or maybe they've lost their jobs and they've moved back home, so they've left the province. And the other one is they've moved to a different building. So that different building could be something that maybe offers a little more than what they currently have. It might be a step up, because every time you have people who vacate and move into home ownership, you create vacancy. You create space, and a lot of people will move up into something that maybe is a little bit better for them.
It's the signs of a strong economy, really.
Absolutely.
What's number 3, real quick, if I can have
well, the number 3 is number 2 and 3 sort of rotates between job relocation and moving to a different building.
Fair enough. Folks, we're going to jump to our final rant pack break. Stay with us.
I think attitudes really have a lot to play when it comes to affordable housing. The NIMBYism, people think affordable housing means you're going to get a bunch of criminals moving in next door, a bunch of hick rednecks who are going to put an engine on the front lawn and spend their whole summer afternoon getting high and drinking beer in the backyard. I think that people really need to realize that people who use affordable housing, especially in this economy and especially in this city, aren't like that. You have a lot of people, especially journalists, not making a lot of money, who have no alternative but to look for something more affordable than a $2,000 a month apartment or buying a house. I really think that people need to realize that affordable housing isn't a stigma. It's something that is a sad reality in today's Calgary and today's economy.
All right, so Brian raised some pretty good issues there. Affordable housing is one of them for sure. I mean, rents, I guess we're not totally in agreement from what I've read, but you have the numbers, so I'll go with what you guys are saying. Rents don't seem to be down quite as drastically as maybe I thought they were, but they're probably level or down maybe a little bit. Now, vacancies, of course, like we said, 5.3%. Has this aided? Have we addressed our affordable housing crisis in Calgary, given the current rental market? Maybe I'll start with you, Richard, your opinion. What do you think?
There's probably always going to be strong demand for affordable housing. Yeah. You know, prices in Calgary for a number of years have been moving higher, but I think we are expecting to see prices flatten out in 2016 and perhaps also in 2017.
Fair to say, Gerry, though, it's still relatively unattainable for some of our lower income earners in Calgary?
Well, I think that's reasonable. I think you have to look at it in the context of affordability will be an issue for some people. Always, you know,
right,
like so,
yeah.
There will always be people who have those affordability issues. Many people don't have affordability issues, so so they're able to move quite easily through the market. Yeah. It's the lower end people that you want to be able to try and help if you can by providing that housing. Calgary is an extremely expensive city in which to live. Whether you own a home, you work in the city, or you rent, this is one of the most expensive cities that there is. Fortunately, our housing market is not like Vancouver.
Could be worse. That's very true.
It could be
yes.
worse.
Yeah.
So affordability will always be an issue for some people. We've always believed that the government has a role in assisting some of these people through rent subsidies. You can help people. We don't believe in ghettos, and we don't want to see ghettos built or developed. But rather, when you have rent subsidies, you assist people, and they can live anywhere in the city where they choose.
Well,
so
you're empowering people. Is what you're
well,
trying to do,
absolutely you are.
Yeah.
And of course, most rents, when you look at it, the average rent, as Richard will tell you, the average rent for a two-bedroom apartment last year was just over $1,300.
That's right.
Now that's the average rent. But you have to look, if that's average, you know that there's a lot of two-bedrooms less than that, and an equal amount more than that. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of units. The same with when you look at the one-bedroom apartments, for example, they're down. I think where we've seen the biggest drop price-wise has been at the very high end of the market. The high-end rentals have dropped dramatically. The $2,000 to $3,000 a month, as we heard just a short while ago. A lot of those rents have come down because the market's not there for them. But the rents that average $1,000, some of them are down now to between $900 and $1,300.
Yeah.
Most of those haven't come down too much, although some of them may have dropped a bit. So it's still affordable for many people. Yeah. For some people, it's not affordable, right. And we understand that. But we think there's a role for government to be able to assist them through rent subsidies.
How about secondary suites? It seems as of late, secondary suites have lost a lot of traction. It used to be media was full of talk about the secondary suites. I mean, that clearly could be a tool to address affordable housing. Have Calgarians forgotten about secondary suites? Do we have short memories? What's the scoop, do you think?
Well, they're there, if I may. There's no shortage of secondary suites. The interesting thing about our secondary suites is nobody really knows how many there are.
See, and that's a huge problem, isn't it?
It is a huge problem. Yeah. So you don't know. We support clean, safe, healthy housing for people to live in. Mm-hmm. That's what we aim for. That's what we want. That's what we expect from our members. So it's interesting. We know that there are some secondary suites out there, for example, that are a far cry from being that.
Yeah.
And
safety-wise, you're talking.
Safety-wise, yeah. So it's an interesting subject. Yeah. Well, it really is, because there's a lot of very good landlords out there who maintain and manage very, very good secondary suites.
There needs to be some sort of regulation. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
Some sort of across the board. where it's outlined, and that's where I guess people are kind of frustrated. I don't want to get into this too much, but I think that's where people are frustrated. It's been before council countless times, in the range of like 30 times or whatever it is. It's kind of ridiculous. You'd think by then we've got ironclad rules and regulations set forth as to what quantifies a secondary suite. I want to leave that for now. Richard, inevitably oil is going to rise, jobs will return to Calgary, and rents will more than likely increase, vacancies going to shrink. I mean, won't we essentially be right back where we were about 18 months ago when it comes to vacancy and affordability in Calgary when that happens?
Not necessarily.
No,
I
you don't
mean,
think so,
we are expecting vacancy rates to remain relatively elevated for the next couple of years, but we're also seeing more supply come onto the market as well.
Okay.
For a number of years, the purpose-built rental market had been shrinking as we're seeing less supply, but in the last couple of years, we've seen more units being started and coming to market. On top of that, the secondary market has also seen more supply added as well. We're seeing more investor-owned condos come onto the market, giving tenants and renters more choices.
Interesting. Okay. Real quick, how has the increase in the minimum down payment on homes above $500,000 impacted the rental market, if at all? What do you think, Gerry?
Well, I think the changes to mortgage rules a couple of years ago certainly delayed people from leaving rental properties, because now they had their down payments. They needed a higher down payment in order to get in, so it meant they had to save a little longer. So for many people, they've actually had to stay in the rental property perhaps a little bit longer than they had intended or hoped to. But people are still moving out, as we see annually in our surveys. So we still see significant turnover where people are just moving up and moving on. But it may have delayed it, though.
Yeah. You agree with that, you think, Richard? For first-time home buyers looking to buy within the core that are obviously going to be purchasing that home over $500,000, are they obviously going to be maybe putting that plan a little bit on the back burner?
Yeah, in terms of average prices, most homes that have been sold in Calgary have been less than $500,000.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think those who are looking to purchase a home that's more than $500,000, some of them may already have 20% down, and so it may not be a big concern for them. But I think for some buyers, they may choose to either change what they plan on buying, or perhaps wait a little bit longer to save to purchase.
Like you said, it's not like Vancouver. Hey, at least there's options here, right? Guys, I want to thank you very much both for being here tonight. Richard, Gerry, good to meet you, and thanks again. Folks, that is all the time that we have for tonight. As always, you can get at us. We're on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. Don't be a stranger. Until next time, take care.